Good morning, YouTube viewers and subscribers. So on the bench today I've got an engine that quite honestly I really didn't know I had. I just happened to be going through my unboxed engine container. I don't know that I was looking for anything in particular. In fact, I think I was putting away a couple of engines and I was rummaging through there and came across this engine. And this is not to boast by any means. It's basically more of a how pathetic I've become, really. I come across this engine and I grab it and I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, what the hell is this and where did I get it? So I go search my channel and I found that I haven't even run one of these before, so I'm trying to remember who I got this engine from or how I got it. But it's an HB40 PDP engine. Now it has it has compression. This engine, I believe, features it looks like a Dykes piston ring. Typically they don't have a whole lot of compression, and as with a lot of these engines, it has an HB carb. It looks kind of like a pericarb. The carb barrel was stuck and I took it off because I'm going to pop this screw out and pull this out and try and figure out why it feels like it's sticky, because I oiled it and it shouldn't be sticking like that. But as I said, I don't really know, I don't recall getting this engine, when I got it or who I got it from. So if whoever knows, if you're watching, I apologize. Actually, I found about 2 other engines that I've gotten over the past, I don't know, however long, that I haven't actually done anything with yet either. But I wanted to kind of take a quick look inside of this engine, because looking at the top of the piston through the hole, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of runtime on this engine. There is some runtime because the side of the piston shows some carbon. And I think maybe one of the reasons I never messed with this engine to begin with was because a couple of these head screws were kind of already kind of screwed up a little bit. Okay, so here we go. So obviously you can see this does have some runtime on it. It's not a new engine by any means. But since I've got it here and found it, I am going to go ahead and put it all back together after I check this carb out and get it on the stand and get some runs of this this engine, because it's here in my hands and it's on my table now, so I might as well. And I've been looking for some other things that I haven't run yet before. Now, the thing that maybe some of you do not know about these HB engines is that the 40 and the 60 share the same size exhaust outlet. So this engine came to me, it obviously didn't have an exhaust, but luckily I have an HB61 that did have an exhaust. So I'm going to put this exhaust on here. I think these screw threads are a really strange thread also. So if you find one of these exhausts, you really need to have the right screws for it, otherwise you'll end up having to retap. But so this is not the original exhaust that came with the engine. But I mean, if you were to buy an exhaust for this engine from Mikoa, this is what you would get, because it fits. I mean, how many times have you ever seen a 40 size and 60 size engine share the same exhaust? But these HB engines do. So with that said, I'm going to put this thing back together and get it out on the bench. And since it looks like it's been run, I don't really have to treat it as a break-in. I can actually try and do some tweaking on it and see how well this engine runs after I investigate the issue with the carb. Good morning, YouTube viewers and subscribers. Today's engine run features an HB40 PDP engine that I found as I was rummaging around through my open box engine tote. Kind of forgot I even had this, haven't even tried to run it. Did a quick look inside of it, deemed it worthy of being able to be run. Although when I did my fuel prime test with it, it wouldn't draw fuel at all, but I have a feeling that has to do with the Dykes ring and the low compression, because I just put my finger over it and hit it with the electric starter and it pulled fuel, and it's holding fuel in the line, so I think we'll be okay. I've got a 10.6 APC prop on here, a tank of Omega 5% fuel, and a Fox idle bar plug installed. That was the engine or the plug that I found in this engine. This is not a new engine. It's been run, so this is not going to be a break-in run. So I'm going to try and wring this thing out. I've got this Perry carb, or the HB carb, angled back a little bit because it doesn't have a very long needle, high-speed needle on it, and it makes it tougher to adjust. So I've got it angled back a little bit to make it a little bit safer for me to adjust. So let's see how she runs. That's not a good sign. Not even wanting to turn over or pop at all. Alright, let's give this another shot here. Would appear this engine has some serious issues since it won't even fire up at all. Okay, well, you win some, you lose some. Since I don't recall where or who I got this engine from, I really don't know much about it other than it doesn't start. It doesn't even pop over. That's a good glow plug. It glows very well. I've primed it through the carb. I've put fuel into the top. Doesn't even begin to pop over. So maybe this engine just needs a new ring. I don't know. Dykes ring engines typically feel fairly light on compression. This one feels that way, but I figured firing it up would at least get it to expand a little bit, but not so much as a pop. So this engine's going to get placed back into my tote, and maybe someday I'll mess with it again, but today it's not going to run. Sorry.